Good morning. Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report, episode 459. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the JP8 report. Hope y'all having a good morning and getting your day started. Been pretty eventful here. I had a good podcast at 6:30 this morning, but ready for the JP8 report. So just to let you know, if you heard about the Apache that helicopter that crashed yesterday, that was from here at Fort Hood. Two people died, two soldiers died, and it crashed out near Salado, which is just south of Belton, Texas. It was on a maintenance run, and that's all we know right now. It caused a 100-acre fire when it crashed, but they haven't released the names of any of the soldiers or anything happened except for an Apache crash, and it came from Fort Hood. It probably came from the first calf, but I'm sure sometime today we'll be starting to find out that tragic news. All right, and I do know people that fly Apaches. They go to our church, so I'm um, I'm waiting to hear some of this news. Okay, all right. Um, so welcome to the JPA report. I lost my train of thought. Welcome to the JPA report. If you're not already a follower, please click. We got 187 followers, which is cool. I want to try to get by the end of August. I want to try to be at 200. The only way we get there is people click that follow button. And the way you do that is click that bell that's right beside where it says the JP8 report and toggle down and you'll see the word follow. Click the follow button. All right. And then you'll be a follower of the JP8 report. Also, while you're at it, you'll see that thumbs up button. Smash it till it turns green. And that's our like button for Rumble. Uh, I do that for everybody I visit on Rumble anyway. I always give them a thumbs up, always. So please do the same thing. And then chat. Nobody's in the chat room right now. There was beforehand in my last podcast. Can't prove it because, chat room is temporary. So let's start over. If you want to get in there, go for it. All right. So, America 250. I got a letter, not a very long one, 2 paragraphs. It's from George Washington to John Hancock. Sir, there is a reason to believe that but little time will lapse before the enemy make their attack. I have thought it advisable to remove all the papers in my hands respecting the affairs of the states from this place. I hope the event will show the precaution was unnecessary, but yet prudence requires that it should be done, lest by accident they may fall into their hands. They are all contained in a large box, nailed up and committed to the care of Lieutenant Colonel Reed, brother of the Adjutant General, to be delivered to Congress, in whose custody I would beg leave to deposit them until our affairs shall be so circumstanced as to admit of their return. The enemy, since my letter yesterday, have received a further augmentation of 36 ships to their fleet, making the whole that have arrived since yesterday morning 96. I have the honor to be, with great respect, sir, your most obedient servant, George Washington. P.S. I would observe that I have sent off the box privately, that it may raise no disagreeable ideas, and have enjoined Colonel Reed to secrecy. George Washington. All right. The Battle of New York is about to begin, and he's taken OPSEC precautions so that General Howe and company don't learn about stuff going on inside the United States. All right. So, the armament shop. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Code's premier source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns, backed by top tier gunsmithing for repairs and with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL? Jason can handle those classes. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Coppers Cove or call or text 254 560 2023 or visit www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop, your safety is our priority. All right, welcome back. Get everything ready here. All right, the Iran update. We have a lot of news to cover today. All right, the Iran update. U.S. troops will be out of Iraq, not Iran, but will be out of Iraq by the 30th of September to conclude over 20 years of presence inside the country. Okay. Look, let me clarify one thing. In 2021, we fled from Afghanistan, left all kinds of equipment back. It was a total retreat and withdrawal from that country. That was Joe Biden. Fast forward to 2026. Now we have President Trump in Iraq doing an orderly, phased exit out of the country of Iraq. This is the way it should be done. You don't advertise everything, you just let it happen, cordial, and make sure you get all your equipment out. That's how you do things. Now, back to the rest of the story. Iran says it controls the Strait of Hormuz, not the United States. They're definitely wrong on that. Negotiations are deadlocked. I don't know what Iran is thinking about, but they're losing $500 million a day in funds. Their people are starving, and their military is unpaid. It's only a matter of time, and everything's going to collapse from within, and it'll be over with, right? You will see them scattering like cockroaches when the lights come on. In the rest of the Gulf, 59 vessels have been redirected since the new blockade went into effect. 2 vessels have been boarded, and then 2 have been disabled. Iran's leadership is very fractured at this moment in time. Houthis are still targeting ships in the Red Sea, and the IRGC spokesman says Iran is trying to prolong the war till the U.S. elections. I don't think Iran has that much time left in their existence to keep that from happening. The Dow Jones yesterday closed down 21.58. It closed at 53,770.27. West Texas Intermediate Oil about 40 minutes ago was at $81.50 a barrel, and Brent crude oil was trading at $87.32 a barrel. All right, like I joked around earlier, you know that my broadcast is live because if you go to oilprice.com when I'm live, you'll see like, ooh, James is pretty close, right? So that's your entire Iran update. Now we got our upcoming announcements real quick. So we have on August 22nd, about a week and a half away, we have the Corio County Republican Women Boots and Bling. It's the third annual Boots and Bling. It's going to be at the Texas Station Event Center at 6 p.m. The Texas Connection is going to be singing. Really good country group. Food is going to be provided by El Tapatio. The guest speaker will be Steve Bunaceri from Governor Abbott's office. Tickets are $35. You can click on the link, and you can scan that QR code, and I have a link you can go to. I'll tell you about it in just a minute. Next announcement, August 27th in Gatesville. Pints and Politics at Rancher's Steakhouse at 6 p.m. Ranchers is at the junction of 84 and 36 inside Gatesville on the far east side. Easy to get to. Really cool. All right. Next one is the August 29th. Coryell County Republican Party is going to have a Patriot Range Day at Holly Gun Range. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's off of Bald Knob Road, just south of Gatesville. $20. Fire all you want. If you run out of ammo, the armament shop will be on site, and he'll sell you more ammo if you need it. And then he's going to have some silencer stuff there, and I got some stuff to tell you about silencers in a few minutes. And then Curmudgeon's Honey Meat is going to be there too. All right. Next one is Pints and Politics. This is the best Pints and Politics. It's going to be on the 3rd of September, 6 p.m. at the Dead Fish Grill in Belton. It's on Lake Road, just south of the Belton Lake Dam. All right. Really cool. The Dead Fish Grill sits on the edge of Lake Belton. And since it's in the evening time, it is a beautiful sight. All right. And then for our last announcement is the 26th of September is Coryell County Republican Party annual fish fry at the Texas Station Event Center, 6 p.m. Catfish dinner cooked by our county commissioners. There's going to be auction items there too. We have 2 guest speakers, Senator Pete Flores from SD24, and then we're going to have the Republican Party of Texas chairwoman, Dorinda Randall. Both of them will be speaking during our dinner. All right. If you would like to get tickets for the fish fry or the boots and bling, you need to get the boots and bling first. Now, if you go to the description of the podcast, you will see at the bottom you have boots and bling link for it, and then you have the fish fry link for it also. Okay, you can buy your tickets. Those links are verified. We know they work. All right. So thank you all very much for those announcements. Now for the JP8 report. Story number 1. With great sorrow that we announce that Caroline Leavitt is going to leave the White House as the press secretary as of the end of this month. She's been there since the beginning. She was there during his campaign. She is very affluent, and when it comes to the role, she's going to be sorely missed. She's always been very organized in everything she said. She's very loyal to the president. But she's a very young mom. She turns 29 next week. She has a brand new newborn and an infant also to go along with that. She was saying that the duties of being a mom and being a press secretary was very heavy on her. And if truth be told, you should know where your priorities lie. It's God, spouse, kids, work, right? That's the way it should, the pecking order of things, right? And she made the wise decision, probably with her husband, that she needs to take a step back. She's only going to be 29 years old next week. She will have tremendous opportunities to keep serving the Republican Party and the conservative movement for years to come after that, right? Those kids will get bigger, and she'll be able to do service. Look at Sarah Huckabee Sanders. What happened to her after she left the White House during the first Trump administration? She is now the governor of Arkansas. So that should tell you a lot. So briefly, says President Trump announced that the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt will leave her role at the end of the month to spend more time with her family. Leavitt confirmed her departure in a lengthy post on X, saying that she made a bittersweet decision after concluding she could not balance the demands of serving as press sec with being the mother she wants to be to her two young children. Serving as the White House press secretary over the past year and a half has been an honor and adventure of a lifetime. Uh, she thanked President Trump for giving her the opportunity to work in the West Wing, travel, and represent the administration from the White House briefing room. So, what she said was, most of all, I am thankful to the president for entrusting me with the distinct privilege of speaking on his behalf at the White House podium. I have spoken with great pride and on many historic accomplishments uh, of this administration, and I have relished holding the liberal media accountable and ensuring the American people hear the truth about President Trump's successes. Leavitt said becoming a mother again while holding one of the White House's most demanding public facing jobs ultimately drove her decision to leave. She said, being a mother and welcoming a new baby while working on one of the most demanding jobs in the world has been the most rewarding yet challenging season of my life, to say the least. The truth is, since returning to the White House after the birth of my daughter, I have felt in my heart that I cannot be the best mom to two young children deserve while devoting the constant time, energy, and attention required of the White House press secretary. That is why I have ultimately made the bittersweet decision to depart the White House and embark on a new chapter in my life. Uh, she's going to still be an advisor to the president. All right. President said that, matter of fact. The question is now, who's going to replace her? Is it going to be someone from within the White House communications office? Will it be, could it be not Caroline Leavitt, could it be Kayleigh McEnany from Fox News, right? Could it be Caroline Sunshine? She's on Fox News also. She used to be with the RNC. Will it be the RNC spokesman, where some of these people come from? Could it be Kari Lake? And right now, she's with the Voice of America, right? Through the president. So that's something to consider. My personal recommendation, it would be Kari Lake, because she's been a radio talk show host. She's been a TV talk show host. She's ran for public office. She's very astute on the demands of what it would take to be the press secretary. And this is someone that does not need to go before the Senate to get confirmed. This is a direct hire. This is just someone who says, you need a job. Can you do the job? Here's the keys to the vault. Let's go. Right? Just like Sean Parnell. He's the DOD press secretary. He left, and I still have his podcast on my favorites. He had his own podcast called Battleground, right? Very good. He was building it up really well. And Pete Hegseth asked him, "You want to be the press secretary of the DOD or the Department of War?" And he said, "Yes." Dan Bongino did the same thing. He became the deputy director. He hung up his podcast for a year to become the deputy director at FBI. It can be done. But I personally think Kari Lake would be the best fit to be the press secretary for the president. Who knows? She's already tried to run for the Senate, and she's tried to run for governor. She's come up short both times. Maybe all this frontline exposure for her with the president in the White House she'll be able to run for Senate because, Mark Kelly or Mark Gallegos, because she's from Arizona, they're going to come up for a re-election sometime. Who knows? She might run again and get elected to the Senate or to the governorship. Who knows? It may happen. I think she's the best fit for that job, but it's not my decision. It's the president's decision. Um, couldn't get today's live. Had to switch. Okay. Ricky's having a hard time getting on Rumble right now, so he's talking to me on YouTube. All right. Understand, Ricky? No problem. All right. So, what do y'all think? Whether on ScrewTube or on Rumble, who do y'all guess that the president should select to be the next uh, press secretary? Like me, I say Carrie Lake. I'll put her name in right now. Let's see. How do you spell Carrie? Kari. Lake. Okay. I just put it out for everyone to see. But that's my guess. If you have a better guess who y'all think would be a better press secretary, put it in there. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So good luck to Miss Levitt out there, and take care of those two little kids. Because us parents, we all know what happens with being a young family, right? They take everything. Um, let's see. What did I hear? On Fox News this morning between 4 and 5, because I get up early so I could do uh, I do show prep, right? And he said the guy was saying, what age should you be able to let your kids go outside unsupervised within reason, right? And he said that the best age, and all kids are different, are about age 8. So I would say, look for Carrie Lake, not Carrie Lake, Caroline Levin to go back into the public arena in about 7 or 8 years, right? All right. So we'll see. We'll see. And Ricky agreed with me. He said Carrie Lake. He said it on Screw Tubes on their live chat. All right. So the next thing, I covered this morning a little bit. This was going to be my title for the podcast, and I changed my mind on it because I figured Caroline Levitt, she deserved the notoriety because how successful she did, and how much she supported the president. So I went with her, right? So uh, yesterday, the new Attorney General Todd Blanche, he announced that 11 people have been charged with uh, doing over 1,000 weddings in 10 years that were fraudulent to help people get green cards. I said that right. Over 1,000 weddings were conducted. They were fake, fraudulent, sham weddings that were orchestrated to help people get green cards to be able to get into our country where they couldn't be deported. Um, I don't know, Carrie, but I'll trust you. Look her up, Scott. She's K. There's her spelling. If you look her up on Google, uh, you'll see she's very articulate. Okay, uh, but the Justice Department. This is crazy. Some of these people that did these fake weddings, right, spent over $100,000 to get married. Oh my! I spent 40 for mine, and mine was legitimate, right? I got married in Wichita Falls in 1993. All right, these people, and these all took place in New York City. All these weddings, like I was saying this morning, in the Army, they warned you about this because people were doing fake weddings so soldiers could move uh, out of the barracks and pocket money that is meant for rent and or basic allowance for subsistence, separate rations. They pocket all this money and make a whole boatload of money and don't even live with their wife. Some of these people were in that's in this stuff was they were doing prenuptials because I heard this stuff and I printed it off also. They were doing prenups that people live in different residences and never see each other, and one person got the green card and the other was a U.S. citizen. I even saw a picture of a soldier with one of these. They were blotting out the faces so people wouldn't see them. But this is serious. So this happened over the course of about 10 years. So the 2-count indictment charged the individuals with conspiring over the course of a decade to orchestrate over 1,000 fake marriages to fraudulently obtain immigration status for foreign nationals, primarily Chinese citizens. Some individuals paid up to $100,000 per marriage. The network, which ran from 2016 to 2026, was based in New York City, but functioned nationally and arranged sham marriages between foreign nationals and United States citizens. The foreign nationals would paid up to $100,000 for fake marriages, and American citizens tied to the scheme were paid $30,000 for their roles. Can you imagine some person get married 5 different times? That's $30,000 per marriage is a lot, right? I guess you can only do it like once because once they lose their once there was a divorce, that person with the green card, I guess, would have to go back to their home country, and let's say became a U.S. citizen, right? And then that was fraudulent right there. Recruiters were paid as much as $5,000 per citizen that agreed. The Department of Justice is rooting out fraud everywhere, including in our immigration system. This is from Todd Blanche. Uh, the individuals who were arrested today allegedly orchestrated elaborate schemes to illegally obtain citizens for foreign nationals through sham marriages. Schemes like this deliberate affront to the United States and our laws and will not be tolerated under the Trump administration. The defendants had been charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit marriage fraud and immigration fraud, which, if convicted, carries a penalty of 5 years in prison. I mean, I got Scott and I got Ricky both in the chat, right? They're both in the Navy. I'm sure, like I just talked about with the Army, how they warned us because it's a court-martial offense about. I mean, I'm going to ask them straight out. Have y'all ever heard about sailors when y'all were in the Navy marrying um, women so they can get BAH? I mean, it's a serious matter. Uh, it's fraud and stealing from the government. And the fact is, 1,000 weddings were conducted and allowed this to happen, and they got a green card out of the thing. Could you imagine if they got the green card, married to a U.S. citizen, and hey, let's have a baby, and so that green card holder have a baby. Now they have an anchor baby in the United States. They can get divorced. They got a U.S. citizen as a child. Now that green card citizen can stay in the United States. That's how easy it can happen. That is why these people are going to jail. See, Ricky said he's seen it happen a lot. That's true. He was a sailor, man. Think about all the mermaids that married sailors in the Navy. I bet it happened a whole lot. Just a joke, Ricky. You can laugh, okay? I'm sure you've seen lots of mermaids while you were in the Navy. You too, Scott. you were probably in the Navy longer, and then Ricky, you probably saw more than your fair share of mermaids. Okay, so back to business. So one other thing, it just came out this morning. I didn't need to get married to get BAQ VHA. Okay, man. But did you see mermaids? Come on, answer, man. Come on, Scott. Did you see mermaids while you were in the Navy? So this came effective this morning. All right. So on August 5th, U.S. District Court in northern Texas, all right, made a ruling on August 5th eliminating the 1934 requirement that that you had to pay a fee, a $200 tax, to be able to get a silencer for a weapon. All right. So the injunction expired. So the federal government had until last night to file an appeal. If not, it went into effect. The U.S. government decided. Scott said no comment about the mermaids, and Ricky said one. Okay, no comment. Okay, cool. Like they used to tell us when you were in the desert. When I was in Saudi Arabia, they said there's a woman behind every tree in Saudi Arabia. And you look and you're in the eastern province and you see nothing but sand. Same concept. Ricky said that's not what I came across. Okay. So this is the deal about the Firearms Enforcement Act that was challenged in court. Okay. And Vince said they're going to try to get the silencer shop on the Vince show tomorrow morning. So that would be cool. All right. So a Texas based federal judge reined in enforcement of the National Firearms Act last week, siding with the state of Texas and a group of firearm companies against the federal government. In an August 5th order, Judge James Wesley Hendricks of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas enjoined the federal government from enforcing the national firearms provision against the plaintiffs, which include 15 states as well as a coalition of businesses and advocacy groups. Hendricks stopped short of a nationwide injunction, but his order only applies to certain provisions of the law. However, the ruling could eventually undermine enforcement of NFA altogether, one Texas lawmaker speculated. The challenged NFA provisions are unconstitutional. Congress's choice to eliminate the transfer and making taxes matter, and defendants cannot save the NFA's regulatory scheme by referring to the power that Congress never invoked, Judge Hendricks wrote. The constitutional basis for Hendricks's ruling is not the Second Amendment, but rather Article 1, which authorizes Congress to levy taxes. Until last year, okay, the National Firearms Act imposed a $200 tax on those who made or transferred certain firearms, including short-barreled shotguns, short-barreled rifles, and suppressors. Some people call those silencers, right? The ruling identifies Congress's power to tax on the authority for the NFA. The 2025 One Big Beautiful Bill Act included a provision to cut this tax to $0. As a result, it obviated the federal government's regulatory power over the now untaxed weapons. Given Congress's removal of the taxes from the statutory scheme, the court agrees that the NFA's regulatory requirements for untaxed firearms cannot be sustained under the taxing power of the necessary and proper clause, nor can they be sustained under the commerce power because Congress never invoked that power in enacting the NFA. Hendricks also called the relevant provisions unconstitutional because they declined to issue the declaratory judgment the plaintiffs thought. The manufacturers and retailers have reason to stay cautious for now. NFA violations can result in 10 years in prison, including the ultimate cordon off the interstate safe space for silencers and short-barreled shoulder weapons, realized as a goal that has eluded the Texas legislature. This is a very important judgment. The goal was to create the same type of gray area, legal uncertainty, safe space to operate that has existed in states like Colorado, Washington, and California with regard to marijuana for years. Congressman Tom Overson said. During the 87th legislature, back in 2021, Overson authored House Bill 957, a state law which declares Texas-made suppressors exempt from the NFA in an effort to skirt the Interstate Commerce Clause of the U.S. Constitution. However, the state of Texas failed to secure a favorable ruling in federal court, hamstringing the law. Last week's ruling erodes the federal government's authority to, on a different basis, presenting another opportunity for critics of the NFA. Representative Oliverson argued, it makes you wonder whether they actually have any federal authority to regulate these devices under the Commerce Clause. If Congress has ever passed a commerce bill on this matter. The Trump administration had until last night to appeal, and they did not. So in those 15 states, the suppressor, you can buy the suppressor without the $200 tax now. I can see this eventually going to the Supreme Court. Well, no, it can't go to the Supreme Court. Well, someone else in another one of those states outside the 15 can actually file suit and send this to the Supreme Court, and they'll use this as precedent to make it nationwide. We have some good judges out there. If you're happy that that actually took place, put an American flag in the chat. I'm doing it right now. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell Jay over at the armament shop the day about this ruling that went into effect. And he'll probably tell me, I know that, James. Watch. All right. It's already 8:38. Wow. Hey, if you're listening to me and you're surviving, hey, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button, smash it, make it turn green. And if you want, please do so by clicking that bell beside where it says JP8 report, and don't go down there and clicking the follow button. All right. Supreme Court goes back into session on October 5th. It's got a whole slew of climate control cases and all kinds of other stuff, right? Immigration that it's going to be reviewing over the next 2 months. There's some serious stuff that's going to be going on in there. One of them is climate control. It was out of Colorado. I can already tell you right now the chances are that Boulder, Colorado is going to get crushed in that ruling. At least 6-3 because of Colorado is a liberal state, and they are all into this windmills and solar panels and enforcing on everybody, right? They're going to lose everyone. It's Suncor Energy versus Commissioners of Boulder, Colorado, right? There's another one that's going to be in there. It's going to be Baird versus United States and Janello versus Black. And it's about immigration, whether an illegal alien can be held indefinitely under auspices of criminal prosecution, whether they can be actually held without bond in a deportation facility, right? Uh, that's going to be on October 13th. And then let's see. There's one, St. Mary Parish versus Roy. The justices will consider whether Colorado discriminated against a Catholic preschool by excluding it from the state's universal preschool program. The preschool sought an exemption from the program, requiring schools to admit any applicant, including LGBTQ children and children of LGBTQ parents. So that one would probably be a 6-3 ruling in favor of the St. Mary's Catholic Parish. Then there's Nielsen versus Wannabe concerning a federal inmate who alleges the prison officials ignored his fractured something. I don't know what that is. And there he's wanting damages from the prison system. I have no idea what that word is. The Supreme Court. Those were the high profile, and there's other ones involved, but those are the big ones coming up in October and November. All right, next. So Heidi Barrich, right? She's in like serious trouble. She got arrested yesterday. She was the chief financial officer with the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center. And these are the yahoos that were funding white supremacist organizations so they can keep being white supremacists, even though the pretense that there are donations to these people were to be informants, right? And to produce evidence to get people arrested, right? And and also to keep these organizations funding, keep them functioning. That's the word I was looking for. So the more they stay on the national spotlight, the more money the SPLC will make from donors saying, we're fighting against these organizations. And at the same time, they did not know that the SPLC was funding said organization leadership to keep them from leaving the organizations. Well, Heidi decided she needed a new boyfriend. So she uh, made her lover came from the National Alliance, another white supremacist organization, right? And she was paying him $1.2 million from the SPLC, and she was using that went into their joint bank account, and they were actually using it. She was using it for her own fit also. She was arrested yesterday for wire fraud for that, right? Uh, I hope the SPLC disintegrates from this. You never know with court, right? You never know. But she's going away, right? So, as a former SPLC finance officer was charged Wednesday with her leading role in having the left-wing nonprofit secretly pay informants to participate in white supremacist groups. Heidi Barrich of Palm Springs, California, made her initial appearance Wednesday in federal court in Riverside, California. She had been arrested earlier that day. Let me get to the page. On a superseding indictment, who was naming Barrich as the first unmasked by the New York Post in June, as filed in Alabama, because that's where the SPLC is headquartered at. This is a new indictment that includes the former CFO of the SPLC. Todd Blanche said this yesterday. An arrest has been made, though our Barrett's attorney said she appeared voluntarily in court. She still was arrested. Mr. Dr. Barrett is innocent. In this case, is without merit. Yeah, sure. All right. So, I think this is the page I'm looking for. Kash Patel, he's our director of the FBI, said Barrett, who's at the center of our ongoing investigation into the SPLC, which found the nonprofit knowingly misled donors who believed their money was being used to dismantle violent extremist organizations, when in fact, part of those donations were being used to pay for senior leadership within those extremist groups. Yesterday, the superseding indictment accused Barrett of helping to funnel $1.2 million in SPLC donor money to an informant in the white supremacist group National Alliance, who was also purportedly her lover. What a gift, right? I want to be your lover. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. I haven't heard that song in ages. The June 2nd indictment named the person who would become director of the SPLC Intelligence Project as employee number 2. Barrett served in that role from 2012 to 2019. In 2014, that employee paid off an informant known as F9 to break into the National Alliance headquarters and steal 25 boxes of documents, only to later use the materials to author an article for the SPLC's blog Hate Watch. The article, Chaos at the Compound, is still available online. The indictment notes that it was used to solicit more donations for the SPLC. Barrett, as an SPLC employee, was also alleged to have been in a romantic relationship with F9, where the two shared joint bank accounts and a house. According to the indictment, over a 20-year period, F9 received more than $1.2 million from the SPLC donor funding. Another informant, known as F39, which paid $6,000 in donor cash to falsely take responsibility for the burglary. Dude, I'll give you $6,000 to take the fall. It's going to take more than that. You better put a couple more zeros on that bad boy, right? Man, that person was hard up for some money. $6,000 to be charging a felony. The Post previously identified F39 as ex-National Alliance member Randolph Dillaway, a nearly deaf accountant who had belonged to several other hate groups before joining the neo-Nazi organization. Maybe he fired too many weapons without ear probe. Barrett, who joined SPLC in 1999, is the first employee of the Alabama-based nonprofit to have been named as a participant in wire fraud, bank fraud, and money laundering conspiracy. I knew it was that fat, ugly hog, Heidi Barrett, National Alliance Chairman William White. Oh my goodness. Let me read that again. Quote, I knew it was that fat, ugly hog, Heidi Barrett, unquote. National Alliance Chair William White Williams, 78, previously told the Post from his home in East Tennessee, confirming the indictment's descriptions. Quote, I think some of those cluckers wanted to get out of the movement, so they went to the SPLC for help. But instead of helping them, the SPLC said, why don't you stay in and get paid? He said of the informants. The superseding indictments alleges that between 2007 and 2023, the SPLC quietly gave 4.1 million in tax-exempt donor money to extremist groups in a series of bank accounts and sham entities. Some of the funding went toward costs for the wood and the fuel required for cross burning, publishing racist pamphlets and extremist literature and other work to maintain the SPLC's network of field sources. Uh, what's worse, the white supremacist groups or the supposed anti-white supremacist groups keeping the white supremacist groups uh, fully funded and actionable? To me, both of them are just as evil. Every one of these people need to be prosecuted. I might have laughed about when he said about the fat ugly hog. You know what? That is kind of funny. But what's even worse is what White Williams stood for in society, because he hated people. He hated Protestants, he hated black people, he hated Jews. Anyone that wasn't like him, he hated. There's no apology for him. He's an evil person that needs to go away. And Hadi Barrage is just as evil. Every one of those people that funded those people to keep these organizations funding and operational are just as bad. And if it involves wire fraud and bank fraud and money laundering, they lying on 1099s and W-2s to hide the companies that these people worked for, is they need to go to jail. They broke all kinds of IRS laws. They're gone. These people need. This lady is toast, right? What time is it? 8:52. Hold on just a second. I got to get Dan Bongino ready to raid into. Give me a second here, okay, guys? Just a minute. Copy. There. Control V. I'm ready. Yeah. So, what do y'all think about this fat, ugly hog, Heidi Barrage, and what she did? $1.2 million. And she was in a relationship with one of the informants and was living off the money that she was paying him. I don't know. I don't know about people these days. This is crazy. I got big articles left, man, and I don't have the time to go over all these. I mean, I got huge articles here. Okay, so we'll go over this one. All right. So if you were paying attention over the last couple of months, with the president he had that nationwide address. He was talking about transparency, right, and how people were setting up the president and members of his staff, and they were taking cell phone stuff and investigating people. And he said, "Hey, if you go to these websites, you can actually get." You can look at all the files, right? And they were all zip files. I still got them on my computer. I've looked at them and stuff. But you know what? It's kind of hard, right? So John Solomon last night was talking about this on the Hannity show, right? He was talking about this thing called Round River, right? And it was a task force launched by the FBI on President Trump and members of the cabinet back in 2020 when he was still in office. Now, check this out. This is unbelievable junk right here. You will find, if you go into the comments section of my podcast here, you will see the link to the Just the News. This article is linked on that, right? That is the link to this article right here, right? Um, so, memos related to a secret counterintelligence operation codenamed Round Rock River that was launched during the 2020 election by a task force of FBI analysts, which formally designated Attorney General. You know, the FBI works for the Department of Justice. Okay. The Attorney General, Bill Barr, the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, key members of Congress, and journalists as Russian disinformation conduits in an apparent effort to tamp down a Ukrainian corruption scandal engulfing Joe and Hunter Biden. There's 3 different PDFs that are linked to that article itself. They were trying to set up Bill Barr, a moderate Republican. They were trying to set him up where anytime he was saying something, they were doing a disinformation campaign on him to keep people from actually agreeing and listening to his statements he was making on that investigation. Okay? Next, right? And I know I'm running out of time here. So, Maricopa County voter data breach. Okay? Arizona's largest county, Maricopa County, that's where Phoenix is, suffered a significant breach in its election data in the days before the 2020 presidential election when a self-described hacker foiled security and got 633,000 voter registration files out of the. But the Biden administration, which took over in 2021, they got the guy to confess, and then they didn't prosecute him. What? I mean, why would you do something that stupid, right? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 PDF. Y'all need to go to the link in the comments and look at this. Next one. The FBI opened a probe into Attorney General Jeff Sessions in May 2017 for potentially making false statements to Congress about Russian contacts, even though he had already updated his disputed testimony. The evidence is to support the probe codename March Toll and opened one day after the FBI director James Comey was fired, right? Was a weeks old letter from Democrats and an article from a liberal news site. So you got 3 different ones. And then the next is Oxford Coma. I mean, and then there's non-citizens on state board. Y'all need to go look at all these. This is unbelievable. It's in the comments section. Okay? I might go over more of this tomorrow. I might. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that I didn't get to go over. Yeah, there's a whole lot. It's already 8:58. Dan Bongino's coming on in a few minutes. If I get indwelled anymore, I'm just going to lose focus of what's going on. So, hey, if y'all are looking for, well, I'll get ready to do uh, the raid. You can find me on these following social media sites. Okay, I'm on X, I'm on Facebook, I'm on ScrewTube, I'm on True Social, and I have a Gmail that you can write me at. Okay, I'm initiating the raid right now. It's gone. It's confirmed. I will see y'all tomorrow morning, Friday, yay, right? And you got 6 seconds. And then I have the JP8 report tomorrow also, okay? Y'all have a great day. I'll see y'all tomorrow. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.